Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm here today to share with you my August TBR. So I am continuing on in my reading for pleasure summer kind of vibe for August, and I've picked out 4 novels, and my nonfiction reading for the month is going to be a little bit different than what I've been doing for the other parts of 2024. So the first book I chose to read for August was the audio selection, and I'm listening to Melmoth by Sarah Perry. So I listened to The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry a few years ago, and I adored that book. I really enjoyed the experience of listening to it. And I know that Sarah Perry's new book called Enlightenment has been nominated for the Booker. And so I thought, I really should. I'm trying to be a bit better at keeping up with authors so that I'm not falling too far behind on their releases. So I thought, let's see if Melmoth is available on audio. I'll listen to that, and then I'll only be one behind for her. And so it was available. And I think this book got quite a bit of buzz when it came out a few years ago. I remember some people thinking like it wasn't as good as The Essex Serpent, and I think there were a few people who did really like it. I think it has a kind of gothic feel, but it's a more modern story. And it is about some sort of an entity that infiltrates people's lives, kind of like a ghost-like figure or a monster or something like that. Melmoth, like mythical legend type thing. So it's very early days, but I think our main character's name is Helen Franklin, and she seems to be the centerpiece for which things will rotate. But I'm very early days in listening to it, so I am very curious to see how this one goes. And so far I really like the narrator as well, and I believe her name is Jan Kramer or Cromer, but I'll put that down below here for you. So the second book I chose to read for August is The Cutting Season by Attica Locke. So I have not read any Attica Locke before. She writes crime, thriller, fiction, I believe. And the reason that I know of her is because I purchased her trilogy. I think it's a trilogy, or perhaps it's an ongoing series. I haven't looked it up recently. For my dad, who's very into mysteries and crime novels. And so I wanted to check her out as an author, but read a standalone because I don't want to necessarily start a new series right now. So this book is set on a New Orleans plantation in modern day, and someone is killed, I believe, and then as the investigation gets deeper, it reveals the history of this plantation, like something to do with the murder has been has ties into the past of the place itself. So it's kind of I don't know if it's a dual timeline or if things are just revealed. I have no idea. I'm kind of going into this blind. It just seemed like I felt like I wanted something a bit pacey, something that could be potentially a propelling read, a propulsive feeling reading it. So that's what I picked out, The Cutting Season. And then continuing on my always reading about artists, reading about art all the time, I chose Painting Time by Maylis de Kerangal. And this was translated from the French, I believe, by Jessica Moore. And so this won the Prix Médicis, the Franz Hassel Prize, and the Wellcome Book Prize. And it is a novel about a character named Paula Karst, who is a painter. She loves trompe-l'oeil painting, and she studies in Brussels and creates some friends in the art school, and it kind of follows their relationships, the three of them, as well as she travels to Paris, Moscow, Italy, so it just sounded like a really atmospheric and propelling, again, I wanted some propulsion, novel about complex relationships and art. So very excited to get to this one. It's been on my TBR for quite a while. And so the other fiction book that I'm planning to read in August, hopefully it may end up going into September, we'll see, is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. So I read a book earlier this year, late last year, called The Baby on the Fire Escape, and it was about creative mothers, and Ursula K. Le Guin was one of the mothers that was featured. And I became very interested in her life, the way she wrote, the type of family life she grew up in, her really supportive husband who supported her in her writing. And I've had, The Left Hand of Darkness on my TBR for years, and I thought, okay, it's finally time to do that. It seems some other people in my city have also felt that, because the book is out. All 3 copies that the library has are out currently. So I've got it on hold. I'm waiting for it to come in. I think it's supposed to come in about mid-August. And so this will be a later in the month read for me. And this is one of Ursula K. Le Guin's fantasy sci-fi novels that is about gender, and I believe that the characters are able to switch their genders at will or something like that, and it plays with gender. And I always find fantasy and sci-fi that goes into the topic of gender to be really interesting. So I'm starting here and not going into her kind of high fantasy novels yet. I'm going to see how I like her writing style. I read maybe 1 to 2 fantasy novels a year, so this is going to be my first one, I believe, for 2024, and I'm excited to check it out and see if I like her writing and see if this is the beginning of an interesting relationship, considering how many books Ursula K. Le Guin wrote. Okay, so the rest of my reading for August is, in terms of nonfiction, is a little bit of a different bag. I am doing some very specific research this month, going through books about Canadian artist Joyce Wieland. So she is a really important female artist from Canada. She opened up a whole bunch of doors. She went into a topic, an area of art making. She did film. She used textiles in her work. She pushed the boundaries of what a female could achieve. She was the first living female artist to have a solo exhibition at the National Gallery of Canada. She did a lot of important things. I have already read a lot about her, but my research now is specific to connecting her work with my own, and so I want to go even deeper, take notes, do some real, good old-fashioned university style research. So I'm not going to be reading this book cover to cover, most likely, but I just wanted to go through the books that I have here that I'm going to be looking at and doing some reading out of over the course of this month. So Joyce Wieland, A Life in Art by Iris Nowell. Joyce Wieland, Artist on Fire by Jane Lind. Passion Over Reason, Tom Thomson and Joyce Wieland. This is actually a catalog from a show held at the McMichael Canadian Collection, which I believe is in Ontario, this art gallery. And so this again has essays in it, essays and art images from the show of these 2 artists. So this Tom Thomson was an artist like an early 20th century artist that Joyce Wieland was very impacted by, and that she had a lot of respect for, and she actually made work about him. And so this was an exhibition with their work together. So just studying this one, and then the other one, which this is the one that I probably will read cover to cover because I haven't read it before. This is Joyce Wieland Writings and Drawings, 1952 to 1971, and it was edited by Jane Lind, who wrote her other autobiography. So Jane Lind is one of the art historians who has done extensive research on Joyce Wieland, and so she's put together several essays about her, and then this book and the other one. So yeah, I'm excited to get to this. Obviously this is diary entries and sketches, so there's multiple different types. It's a mixed media style book. Yeah, so like I said, I'll probably read this one cover to cover. The other ones I'm going to be dipping in and out of for research purposes, taking notes, gathering all my thoughts around Joyce Wieland. And then there's probably a lot of some essays from the internet that I will also be delving into, but I may not do that this month. I may do that later on in the year when I'm trying to complete all of that research. Okay, so that's my plans, my reading plans for August. They are a little bit out of the norm for me, but I'm excited to get to these novels. I have been reading a lot of nonfiction this year, so I'm excited to just settle into some novels and not be so focused on reading memoirs or any other specific nonfictions for the month of August. All right, so I'll be back again soon with another video. Thank you so much for watching.